In this video, I started a survival world that I plan on staying in for a long time. I really like building, so I'm going to need lots of OP farms in order to gather the materials that I'll need to build some crazy structures inside of this world. And before I do that, I need to do a few things. In this video, I'm going to set up a base, get perfectly enchanted god armor, and beat the end. So let's start at the beginning. I used to have a survival series world that went on for over a year. I stopped playing for a while, and when I went to go back, the world would crash every time I tried to open it. Eventually I did get it to work, but at this point, I felt like it was time to let the series go. I'm not here to talk about that in detail, but if you want to know more, ask me in the comments. So anyways, let's get started with a brand new world. I started off, as always, on the ever so ominous create new world screen. I know that over the years this has gotten a bit more confusing, but I knew exactly what I was looking for. I typed in the seed of FoundInMN just for fun, and I actually got a pretty fitting spawn. I spawned in a snowy biome of some sorts, and it was also snowing outside at the time that I was recording this, so I guess it kind of fits. And not even 1 minute in, I learned something I didn't know before. And that is that polar bears can attack you without you even attacking them first. You know, I keep forgetting that these things are actually in the game. Kind of useless, but, you know, kind of cool, I guess. Whoa, I did not know they did damage. Okay. I didn't know they could do damage like that. Then I did the basic boring stuff that you already know. Crafting some tools, upgrading those tools, and so on. And then I headed off to try to search for a village, which is where I was going to start up my base of operations. Unfortunately for me, there weren't any villages nearby, so I had to travel quite a long distance. Eventually, I got to a point where I could ignore my hunger no more. So for the first time ever, I think, I had to kill rabbits for food. As accommodation for their sacrifice for my survival, I promise here on day 1 that I will create a great rabbit monument sometime later in the series. As I continued my search for a village, I came across a randomly generated igloo. I thought I remembered there being a basement in these things, so I dug and I dug, but I didn't find anything. Maybe they only spawn in igloos sometimes. So back to the trek I went, and alright, all good to go. After about 7 minutes of walking, I finally spotted a villager out in the distance. Oh! There's one. Oh wait, I hate that stuff. At least you can break it. But, oh, actually, yeah, that's, I thought it was a villager. The gold kind of looks like a face, I guess. I don't know. Ugh. I checked the chest, and there wasn't much value inside. After that, I had a little encounter with powdered snow. It's a bit embarrassing. And thanks to the igloo that I found earlier, I was able to sleep through the first night. And listen, I do not want to be running around with all these mobs with no gear, no food, and no weapons. After sleeping, I finally got to a new biome. I was tired of the snow. So I killed some animals, got some food, cooked that, and I finally got rid of my hunger for now. I searched far and wide, toppled mountains, sailed the seas, crossed the lands, explored a shipwreck, and then I found it. Eventually, I finally found a village, and the surrounding area looked like a good place to set up. In the future, I'll talk more about my plans on how I plan on progressing in this world, and I do plan on playing this for a very long time. But for now, I'm going to play Minecraft the way that I like to play. I have a sort of no-nonsense approach to the way I play this game. I don't bother with the starter houses or decorations for farms, because I would rather create farms and machines early on, which saves time in the long run. And listen, I'm going to be here for a long time, so I've been planning ahead for months in the future, years in the future even. I know what I make isn't the prettiest or most enjoyable to watch right now, but trust me, I've got a plan, and I'll lay that out in a future video, I think. After dilly-dallying around the village for a bit, I found a spot where I could set up my base. Even though this isn't hardcore, I still need armor because I don't want to die. So I started mining for iron, and I found a huge cave network right underneath my base. But after the Caves and Cliffs update, I don't think that's very unusual anymore. While mining, I found a skeleton and creeper, and I tried to trick-shot the creeper into the skeleton, but I was the one that got trick-shotted. Next time I'll get that, watch me. I got myself back, so it's all good. But yeah, that was my first death in this world. I said first, because trust me, there will be more to come. The first farm I want to make is a hybrid villager and iron farm. I've already got the design figured out, well, because I found a YouTube video, but I'm thinking about putting it around this area. Alright, the farm is pretty much done now. I just need to get rid of these temporary blocks. And that should do it. It should now be producing villagers and iron automatically. This is a farm designed by Impulse on YouTube. Overall, it wasn't very hard to put together, but getting the villagers in place was a little tricky, as always. The first one was actually very easy. As I was trying to lure a villager over to get into the cart that I had already placed before, when I came back I realized that there had already been a villager that just walked right in on his own. The other three weren't as easy, but I eventually did get all 4 villagers into their respective places on the farm, where they will probably remain until the end of time. When I was done getting the villagers and the zombie in place, I realized that the village had gotten real empty. I only took 4, and I know that there were more villagers than that before, so I followed the sound of villagers and I found a big pit where they were all stuck. I filled the hole and I let them out, which proved to be unnecessary because these villagers got pretty irritating. They would sleep on my bed, fall into my cow pen, and they would all die out eventually. Looks like the iron portion of the farm is already working. And the villager part is too. Nice. For my next project, I want to set up a villager trading hall to get perfectly enchanted armor and tools. Before I get onto that, I need to do some other necessary tasks. To get even better deals from the villagers in the trading hall, I needed to convert them to zombies and cure them. To do that, I needed 5 golden apples and 1 splash weakness potion for converting 5 villagers at a time. And to get those items that I needed, I would have to go to the Nether. I didn't get a great spawn, but I eventually found the fortress and got the blaze rods I would need for both the brewing and Eyes of Ender. While I was there, I also grabbed some gold for all the golden apples I was going to need to make. At this point, I was stuck in a cycle of doing repetitive tasks so I could move on. I farmed sugarcane and cows for the books, converted villagers, used the glass exploit to get the emeralds I would need, killed endermen for pearls, and I slowly but surely built up my diamond gear with the best possible enchantments. I didn't save the recording, but during that time I died for a second time. I was looking at the F3 menu in the Nether, and I wasn't watching where I was going. So here's a reenactment of that happening. 100... I could barely even see that. Okay. What happened? Oh no. Do I have anything? Rate my acting in the comments. I know it was great. I didn't get all the perfect enchantments right away, but I eventually felt confident enough to take on the Ender Dragon. My main motivation for doing so is for the Elytra, of course. I had already made the Eyes of Ender, so I got prepped with all the supplies I would need and took off searching for the stronghold. It wasn't very far, but here's a map to show how far I went. The stronghold was submerged underneath the ocean, and finding it was no walk in the park. Eventually I found the portal room and I had to fill in every slot with an eye. I don't know if that's rare, let me know in the comments. Without wasting time, I jumped in without setting a new spawn point. I wasn't worried about dying because I wasn't wearing my god armor at the time, and even if I was, it wouldn't matter because I still have all the villagers with the right trades. I fought the dragon the traditional way, blowing up all the crystals before slowly killing the dragon with my bow and sword. At only one point, I was close to dying. What? How did that miss? That was like perfect. How did that miss? After a couple minutes, I got the final shot in on the dragon. I wasn't ready to head back home yet, because I wanted to grab an Elytra and some shulker shells first. I bridged out to the small portal that had spawned to take me where I could find an end city. What? Why? I thought that would work. Okay, apparently not. I went through and walked a couple hundred blocks until I found an end city. Alright, looks like I finally found an end city, but it doesn't look like it's gonna have a ship. Oh, no, never mind. In the end city, I fought some shulkers, which was annoying as ever. And I grabbed the Elytra from the flying ship. I didn't kill all the shulkers because I'm planning on building a shulker farm here later on. After I got everything, I tried out the Elytra for the first time, and then I had to walk the rest of the way because I forgot to bring rockets. I jumped into the portal to go home, and I ended up right back at my base. Now that I've got all the tools I need, it's time to start grinding out farms. And that will have to do for a future video. Leave a like if you're excited to see what's next for this series.